recognizing different shades of color and making assumptions or stereotypes based on the color of someone's skin.
I agree with Shayla. There's also a form of prejudice that's involved with colorism. It's kind of like a internal and external conflict that's kind of built in to society's standards, especially when it deals with African Americans.
Colorism is discrimination between light skin and dark, so I mean, not really racism, but just based on the same race.
It means getting judged by the color of your skin, I guess, or the tone of your skin.
I don't really know what it means, but I think it's just how people are defined by their color and their race.
I've never really heard the term before, and I'm not really sure, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably something to do with how light or dark you are, because people talk about light-skinned girls and like dark-skinned girls, so I don't really know.
Is I guess it's among the people of color, like the dark community, the black community, and that's when people, like, there's tension between dark-skinned people and light-skinned people, whereas light-skinned people are seen better than dark-skinned people. It's also, you know, not only nowadays in America, but it was a big thing back in India and over there in the Western hemisphere, the Eastern hemisphere, and that was a big issue over there, where the dark-skinned people were treated in this caste system as peasants and lower life people, and the lighter people were the higher ups and got certain jobs and stuff because of their skin color.
I didn't like light-skinned girls growing up because they were stuck up and they always felt like they were cuter than darker-skinned girls, and the stigma was, or the stereotype was, light-skinned girls have nicer hair, they're prettier, they dress nicer, and so being darker skinned, like I battled that a lot as when I was younger, especially in school, of the boys wanting the light-skinned girls and dark-skinned girls not being attractive or feeling attractive because our skin was darker and our hair might have been a little coarser and not as long as light-skinned girls.
And to kind of piggyback on that, I feel like everything that Shayla just said was stuff that I probably experienced growing up, because typically people put me in the light skin pile, although I don't necessarily identify as like a yellow bone. But typically light skinned females were the bougie ones. They were the ones that people probably felt like they thought they were the prettiest ones in the room and kind of catty. And when you think about darker skinned women, there was like almost like an attitude that was just kind of placed in with them, and then like a sort of strength, in my opinion. I always felt like darker skinned girls were kind of like stronger and more I guess had like a higher standard as far as how they carried themselves than lighter skinned females, because in school our lighter skinned counterparts were always the fast ones.
I mean, I get called light skinned because I'm a horrible texter, so that's one really. I guess light skins get a better rap in the media, just like a lot of the models are light skinned. You don't really get dark models, so I mean that's probably one of the biggest ones to me as far as media.
Good looking, funny, nice, sometimes crazy, but overall great people.
And dark skin?
That was for both light and dark skin.
I don't think it's the difference between light skin and people that are black and dark skinned people. I think we're both considered African Americans.
I think definitely from social media, like people really glorify like a whole light skin mentality. So people always say, I want a light skinned girl with curly hair and, you know, stuff like that. And then when they talk about darker skinned girls, it's always like kind of more negative, like they aren't seen in the same light and don't get the same praise as light skinned girls do. And also just like from you know, like little kids who like are darker skinned, like they're ashamed of like their skin color. So I think that also attributes to like the negative aspect. Like I don't really know where it comes from, but that's what I think about when I think about that.
Skins are savages. I already know that. Team dark skin. And light skins, they usually more uppity. I would say they're probably a little bit more bougier than us dark skinned people. But you know, they're cool too.
I think it produces a prejudice. I don't think that it is, because I think that it's important to at least celebrate our different variations of our skin color, because little do people know, like, our skin color ties into our heritage and our culture and our ancestry and where we come from and what we're a part of. And so to be darker skinned means I have roots in different areas of Africa and things like that I think should be celebrated. And so I don't think it is exactly a prejudice, but I think that it does create prejudiceness when we think back all the way to slavery times, when the lighter skinned people, or the mulattoes, who are typically children who were born of a slave being raped or having sexual relations with their slave masters, and so they were privileged enough to be in the house and not have to work in the fields and do that type of labor work. And so I think those type of things create the prejudice that we see even here in 2017. But I don't think colorism should be seen as a prejudice. I think it should be something that's celebrated, because it ties you to your identity and who you are, part of your identity and who you are.
I think that a lot of the issues that have come about when it comes to colorism it's an old but fairly new thing as well. Like, I feel like, especially for younger generations, it has been seen more so as so much negative connotation involving skin color that kind of makes, especially, and I feel like it's primarily with black women, that make black women feel like they have to, you know, act a certain way or identify themselves in a certain way just because of their skin color. Because I mean, now you have a lot of young light-skinned black women who have to keep reminding other black women or other black people in general that they are black now. And so it's just like, you know, I agree with Shayla that it's something that should be celebrated, but it has become a conflict, especially with our black women, and, you know, and how we identify beauty. Like, you know, some, like, young girls are growing up thinking that, you know, they're not as beautiful based off of their skin color. And, you know, it's kind of sad, but that's just how reality is now. And a lot of it's come from what they see on TV, what they see in magazines and in the videos. They're seeing younger women, younger light-skinned women being depicted in those things, and so that's kind of what.
I wouldn't say it's prejudice. I would just say that, like, I feel like there's definitely a different way to be treated when you're light-skinned or dark-skinned. So I don't think it's prejudice. I don't think it's, you know, one gets a better experience, but
yes, it is. It's prejudice because, I mean, you're getting judged by what you look like on the outside, so yeah, that's definitely prejudice.
It might be. I'm gonna go with yes.
Why?
Why? I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Prejudice just in the sense that everyone should be looked at equally, and just because like someone's skin is lighter or darker than another because they don't produce as much melanin should have nothing to do with how they're viewed as a person.
Yes.
Of colorism's existence is that blacks with lighter skin complexion seem to be more successful in areas like business and entertainment.
As far as entertainment, I definitely think that's true. Like I said, a lot of the models, Instagram models, just entertaining periods, light skin, get a better rap for it. I think, you know, darker people are portrayed to be, you know, less attractive, less, you know, appreciated than light skinned people.
Standpoint, how it's always been that way, to now, a lot of it is almost a mindset that, like, you know, if I'm not lighter skinned, then I'm not good enough, or if I'm not lighter skinned, then I won't be chosen for this position. I won't be chosen to be representing, you know, whatever it may be. And so it's unfortunate that the statement is being made, and it has so much truth to it, but I think it overall sums up some of our mentalities of our own self-limiting beliefs, that if I don't look a certain way, if I don't dress a certain way, if my hair doesn't look a certain way, then there are certain things that I just won't have access to, instead of getting rid of those self-limiting beliefs and just say whatever I put my mind to and whatever I'm willing to work hard for, I can achieve regardless of what I look like.
I agree. It's a very accurate statement, and it's, you know, it's sad to say that it's an accurate statement, but it's so evident as well. It's almost like it cannot be ignored, especially in entertainment, especially in you know, I don't know, in business not so much. You know, I feel like there's some aspects that colorism isn't so much of an issue or so evident, but in things in which it has to be considered a public figure or something that is seen a part of a brand, you do notice that it exists. You do notice that, you know, you tend to have more of a lighter skinned female involved or male involved with certain brands and certain things in the entertainment industry over darker skin, and I feel like a lot of that comes from institutional racism. You know, it's something that kind of breeds more heavily and in depth beyond colorism. It's not just colorism that creates this. It's a lot of other factors that involves history that kind of puts that into, you know, a much bigger issue.
I think it's probably true. You don't really see a lot of dark-skinned women in the media. It's more lighter tones, caramel-colored women in the media as far as businesses are concerned. I think the same is true for businesses. I don't really recall going to a lot of places and seeing like someone that's fairly dark-skinned. So
Don't know about business, but I don't think that applies for business. But as far as entertainment, yes, I believe so, because I think a lot of people think it's more appealing to look at a lighter skinned person and easier to look at, and for some reason that's true. But you know, as dark skinned people, we just get out the mud and make it happen.
Oh, colorism can definitely be racism with that comment, because you just said that mean basically like people are more privileged if they're light skinned. They have a better chance to get a job versus me as a dark skinned individual.
I think it's BS. I mean, because if you're black, you're black. You still get treated the same. You still have the same success rate in America. So yeah.
As far as, I guess, the difference, I think it's all discrimination. I think it's all kind of demoralizing, or maybe not demoralizing, but like demoting and diminishing like the richness of what race and culture and heritage is. I think when you think of the term racism and you think about all the negative connotations of it, it's simply your own opinion and your own belief towards something else. And I think we're all entitled to that. We're all entitled to have our opinions about whatever it is we want to have opinions for. And racism is often evident through our actions and how we interact with others, how we treat others. So I think it's one thing to have your opinion, and I think it's okay to have your opinion. It's another story when those opinions are being reflected through your actions and your interactions with other people. So I think the difference between that is we just take it up another level and we say, well, I just don't hate all black people. I really hate dark-skinned black people, but light-skinned black people I'm okay with. And it's like we're just, you know, we're taking it up another level that I think is completely unnecessary. I think you get caught up in missing that in 2017 there is no pure race anymore. Everybody has a little bit of something in them. And so when you focus on like the individual and not so much of maybe, well, where do you come from and where are you from, or what is your heritage, or are you from Africa, are you an American? Like, when you take away those things and you get to know a person as an individual, you may learn that yes, that stuff plays into who they are, but I think we're so much bigger than just the color of our skin or our race. I think our experiences contribute to who we are, but I think there's more to a human being than what their skin color is or where they're from.
And to add to that, I feel like colorism, a lot of it is internal conflict that as a culture that we have. You know, racism, I feel like, you know, we always feel like we're battling the next fellow man when it comes to racism. When colorism, it feels like we're battling within our own community.
Right.
And we're battling, you know, how we view ourselves and then how others view us. Whereas in racism, we're battling how others view us solely. So I think that that's what kind of makes colorism an issue that I feel like can only truly be resolved within our community and within our culture. Like, we really have to remind ourselves of a heritage and a history that's broader than our skin color. And so we need to stop putting so much focus on that. But, you know, I feel like America wants us to focus on that. They want us to kind of, you know, divide because of that. That's how they identify separation, and that's how they want us to identify separation within our community.
I think racism is discrimination based on like racial, so black and white. And I say colorism is discrimination of both being black, just whether you're light skin or dark skin.
I don't think there's a difference. I think they're the same thing. Racism and colorism are the same thing.
Racism is how people treat you of different race, and how they look at you. And colorism, like I said, is how people are divided.
I think they're definitely two different things. Racism describes a system of oppression based on race, and if you don't benefit from such a system, then you can't be racist. So blacks are a minority, and we're not the majority in the world, so we don't benefit from oppressing others because we are the minority and we are the oppressed. So I think that racism and colorism are two different things in that aspect, because just because you're prejudiced against someone because the color of their skin is different doesn't mean that you're racist, because they have two different meanings.
Well, racism is when another race, so absolutely completely different races as far as like white people, black people, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, those type of people. And so racism obviously in America is a lot of white over black. So in order for you to be racist, you must have power over the people you are belittling. So that's why white people can be racist and black people can't be, because black people can't be racist white people because we don't have power over them, because they have more, they are the majority. And so that's racism. I had to put that in a nutshell. And colorism is within the race, and saying that the different tones of skin that are found in that race is the prejudice inside of that.
And darker skin, and in my family, I'm the oldest of three, and I'm probably the darkest of everyone in my immediate family. And so my parents never treated me any different, but there were people that would say, "Is that your real dad?" Because I was darker skinned. How could I be darker than my two lighter skinned parents? When I was in school, like I said, I didn't have long flowy straight hair or long flowy curly hair, and my skin was darker than some of the other girls, and so maybe the boys didn't think I was as pretty. And when it came to boys wanting to talk to me or date me, they would defer to the lighter skinned girls first, and then if they didn't get a chance with them, then they would maybe come and talk to me. And so I experienced it, and it's unfortunate, but I think Jen hit on it just a second ago, is it is within our own culture, and it's a way that we tear each other down instead of uplifting each other and supporting each other, and a way that, you know, society has come in to kind of divide and conquer us an African American community. And so it's sad, and I think it's funny that I made the comment I don't like light-skinned girls, because even as an adult, living here in North Carolina, the South, where the culture is much different from the West, where I'm from, I found myself with friends that are lighter skinned than me. And I thought back to, if I was in high school, I never would have had friends that looked like them, because I just didn't feel like I deserved to have friends like them, or I didn't feel like I fit in with light skinned girls. And then as 27, it doesn't really cross my mind, but I look at a picture of us and I'm the darkest one in the picture, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Like, I have light skinned friends and they're not stuck up. And then, I mean, everything that I believed about light skinned girls, I've met 3 beautiful light skinned girls that go all exactly against that. And I've enjoyed having friendships with them, but not only till I was 27 did that happen.
I think it's interesting that even as adults, we notice the fact that we have light-skinned, dark-skinned friends. Like, I really think that's strange. Like, how you're like, oh, I got light-skinned friends now. Because I don't think that I when I reflect back on it, I did experience colorism, but I didn't notice that I was experiencing colorism in high school. I didn't notice that, you know, there was girls that probably did treat me a certain type of way because I did have that long hair. I did have a lighter complexion than them. So I always tend to get the questions like, what you mixed with? You know? Mm-hmm. So it was never like, you know, they didn't want you to say you were just black. They wanted you to be like, oh, I'm, you know, black and white, or I have this, or I have that. So it kind of helped them feel more comfortable with, you know, being your friend instead of you just being a light-skinned black girl. And so now that I look back on it, I did experience colorism. I don't know if I necessarily looked at, I don't know if it's a southern thing, because I am from North Carolina and it is different. You don't really see that separation as much between dark-skinned, light-skinned girls as far as hanging out, being friends, you know. So I don't know if I ever really looked at a darker-skinned female and go like, oh, well, no, I can't be their friend because she probably got an attitude problem, or she don't like me because of this reason. But I do know that it does exist, and, you know, it probably was given more to me than I gave it out as far as experiencing it. Because when I became friends with Shayla, I never went like, oh man, I got a darker skinned friend and she's cool. But I'm pretty sure at some point in time she might have, you know, described me and was like, oh, she kind of light skinned, she cool though, like so it's like it's funny that you don't really notice it until you're having a conversation like this, and where it's like, okay, yeah, we do mention complexion and skin color quite a bit.
I mean, growing up, I have a light skin. My mom's light skin, my brother's light skin, and I feel like they had a better connection. So I mean, I always, put that as one of the biggest reasons for that.
Every day, we experience colorism every day, no matter what. So yeah. We just experienced.
Personally, have you gone?
Personally,
yes.
I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, of how you take someone treating you, or like how someone's talking to you. But I probably encountered a few colorism times in my life, but.
No, I haven't, and I actually didn't really know what colorism is, or really heard of the term until this interview.
No, not personally, but like I said, with my friends who are guys, like they've talked to me about why they would pick one girl over another, or why someone else might be more attractive than someone else to them in their eyes. So not personally, but through other people, I guess I could say yes.
I mean, I got rejected by girls because I wasn't light enough. So I mean, I guess it's messed up. I mean, I never tried to be like a model or nothing. I've been dark my whole life. Yeah, I mean, other than being rejected,